Child, before you take another breath, I need you to stop whatever you're doing. 'Cause the words you're hearing right now, they ain't no accident, and nothing about this moment is random. You searched for this. Maybe you don't rightly remember, but your soul did. Late at night, when you thought no one was listening, when you whispered into the dark with a voice so tired it hardly made a sound. I heard it. Every single word. I heard the prayer you were too ashamed to say out loud, the one you buried under your pillow, tucked deep inside your heart so nobody'd see just how close you were to giving up. I'm the voice that's been waiting for the very second your heart would be soft enough, open enough, broken in just the right spots to finally receive what I've been holding back for you. And that second, my dear, is now. Don't you look away. Don't let the noise of this world pull you out of this. Just for once in your long, weary life, let yourself be still and hear the truth. Your prayers have been heard, all of them, and that blessing you begged for, the one you almost stopped believing in, it ain't far off no more. It's close. Closer than the door of the room you're standing in, closer than your own heartbeat. I know what you've been carrying. I know the weight setting heavy on your shoulders the moment your eyes open at dawn, before you even get out of bed. That invisible burden that greets you like an old enemy and sticks with you till you lay down again at night. I know you've learned to smile when something inside you quietly breaks. I know you're an expert at saying, "I'm fine," when every part of you is shouting the opposite. You've mastered being strong for everybody else, holding the family together, being the one who never gets to fall apart, taking on the pain of others while no one ever asks who's carrying yours. So you carry it all alone. You carry it in the car, doors locked, engine off, letting yourself cry for 2 whole minutes before you wipe your face and walk inside like nothing happened. You carry it in the shower, where the water hides your tears. You carry it in the late hours when the whole house is asleep, staring at the ceiling and asking that same question you've asked 1,000 times. Why me? Why always me? When's it going to be my turn? When's someone going to finally see me? I see you. Always have. I saw you on the days you felt invisible, walking through crowds like a ghost. The days you gave and gave till there was nothing left and still nobody noticed you were empty. I counted every tear before it ever touched your cheek. I gathered 'em, kept 'em safe. Not one was wasted, not one fell into thin air, because in the world you can't see, every tear of the faithful is treasured, and yours have filled a vessel that's overflowing. You thought your crying was weakness, thought your breaking was failure. But I tell you, those nights of silent tears, they're what opened the gate. The ones who weep in secret, they're the ones I lift up in the light. The ones humbled in the dark, I raise into the dawn. And your light, child, is about to shine so bright, it'll leave every soul who overlooked you stunned into silence. But listen close now, with all your heart, 'cause what I'm about to say carries weight you can't take lightly. There's a reason this message found you today, not yesterday or tomorrow. There's a reason your eyes landed on these exact words. When the divine sends a sign, the moment you receive it is a crossing, a threshold, and what you do next matters more than you know. To hear heaven's voice and turn away ain't no neutral thing. To feel that truth stirring in your chest and then push it down. To feel that calling warm inside and then talk yourself out of it, 'cause you've been let down before, 'cause you're scared to hope again, 'cause hope's hurt you so many times you built walls round your heart to keep it out. That's the danger I'm warning you about. I ain't threatening you, I never threaten my children, but I'm telling you the law of the unseen world. And the law is this: what you ignore, it slips away. What you honor, it grows. The blessing coming your way needs a heart ready to receive it, and a heart that keeps rejecting signs just can't hold what's being prepared. So don't let this be just another thing you scroll past. Don't let this be just another warm feeling that fades before the day is done. The ones who suffer longest are often the ones who were closest to their breakthrough, but turned round just a step before the finish line, let doubt whisper louder than faith at the last moment, decided they weren't worthy of the good that was reaching for them. Neglecting the spirit is the quiet thief that's stolen more destinies than any enemy ever could. I don't say this to scare you. I say it 'cause I love you too much to let you walk past your own miracle. Stay with me now. Keep your heart open just a little longer. Let me show you what's moving on your behalf right now, in this very moment, in places your eyes weren't made to see. 'Cause while you've been sitting there, worn out and thinking nothing's changing, everything's been changing. That stillness you felt? It wasn't emptiness. It was the quiet of a mighty machine being put together up yonder, Gears of providence turning slow and steady, plans being made, doors unlocking one by one in the order they gotta. What looked like silence to you was the loudest working in the heavens. Messengers sent out, names spoken, your name spoken, decrees writ with your destiny on 'em, and the ink, it ain't no earthly ink. It's light itself, and what's written in light can't be wiped away by any hand. The blessing you prayed for ain't some far-off hope floating beyond your reach. It's a real thing, made just for you, with your name on it, coming your way right now, carried by forces that don't tire and don't turn back. And I want you to understand why it took so long, 'cause I know that question's haunted you. You've wondered if your prayers fell on deaf ears, if you were forgotten, if maybe you'd done something to deserve the silence. Let me end that struggle right now. The wait was never punishment. The wait was preparation, protection, and love wearing a face you couldn't see back then. If that blessing had come when you first demanded it, you wouldn't have been ready to hold it. A blessing given to an unready soul can crush instead of lift. There were things in you that had to grow stronger first. Cracks in your foundation that had to be sealed for the weight of abundance could rest on it. Lessons only waiting could teach. Patience only silence could build. Depth only suffering could carve into your soul. Now picture this. The finest blade ever made, forged down in the fire till it's glowing hot, hammered over and over on that anvil, dipped in cold water, heated up again, and hammered some more. To that metal it might feel like nothing but pain and torment. But without every single strike, every burn, that blade would just shatter the first time it faced a real test. Well, you've been on that anvil too. Every hit you thought was breaking you was actually shaping you. Every fire that you thought would burn you up was tempering your soul. And those cold waters that shocked you, they set your strength. Now you ain't that fragile thing that cried out when this all began. No, sir, you're a tool that can hold an edge. You're ready in a way you never could have been before, and heaven don't waste its finest gifts on vessels that can't carry 'em. That waiting, that was the forge, the silence, it was the sharpening, and the one who oversaw every strike wasn't cruel. No, he was a master craftsman who refused to give up on what you could become. I want to paint you a picture from the unseen world, so you can see just what your faithfulness has stirred up. Way up high beyond the troubles of your days, in a place where light is so pure not even a shadow can hold on, stands the great captain of the heavenly armies. Sword drawn, name so feared by the dark forces they won't even whisper it. He's the warrior who casts down the proud, the defender who's never lost a fight, the one whose blade is forged from light and whose voice commands legions no enemy can stand against. When your tears overflowed, when your prayers rose like sweet incense and gathered round the throne, an order was given. That captain turned his gaze toward the chains that bound your life, toward the invisible cords that held back your blessings, and toward the curses spoken over you that you didn't even know existed. I want you to see it clear as day. See that sword rise and fall. See the chains wrapped tight round your money, your health, your relationships, your peace, cut clean in one swing, falling away like smoke. See those dark contracts written against you, those secret agreements you never signed but that held you down anyway, torn in half and set on fire. Battles are being fought over you that your eyes can't see, clashes way up high where the messenger bringing your answer got held back by resistance, opposed by forces that didn't want you to get what's yours. But reinforcements came. The captain himself joined the fight, broke the resistance, and cleared the way so what's yours could finally come through. That heaviness you felt in your spirit these past seasons, those waves of discouragement that hit out of nowhere, that was the echo of a war waging for your destiny. And that war, my friend, it's being won. Before I show you what's waiting on the other side of this victory, I gotta tell you something, 'cause love won't let me keep going without it. There's some knowledge that's been kept hidden from the folks who needed it most, a set of sacred laws that govern this unseen war. These are truths the ones walking in spiritual authority always knew, but they were kept far from folks like you and me, ordinary souls suffering through the fight. You've been battling without ever learning the rules. You've been a key piece on a board bigger than you ever imagined, moved around, targeted, opposed, but never handed the manual that explains how heaven's swords cut, how curses really break, how blessings get sealed so they can't be stolen again, how the chosen ones light up the calling laid on them before they were even born. This knowledge, it's real. It's gathered. It's all written down in a sacred digital guide called The Seven Swords of St. Michael the Archangel. the sacred guide to break curses, seal blessings, and activate the calling of the chosen. It teaches the very things the enemy has fought so hard to keep from you. If all I've shared stirring something deep in your chest, if you feel the truth of this invisible war pressing on your heart, then know this guide was made for a soul just like yours, the one who's been targeted and never knew why, the one who's prayed without knowing the words that carry real power, the one ready to stop being a victim of the unseen and start standing in the power meant for him. The link to this sacred guide is right there at the very top of the comments. First one pinned so you don't have to hunt for it. I tell you plain, this knowledge has been resisted. There are folks who'd rather it stayed buried. More than once folks tried to hush what it reveals, 'cause knowledge like this sets captives free, and captors don't give up quiet. So go on now while your heart's open, claim it. And as a step of faith, as a shout to heaven saying you're stepping into your calling, leave a comment that says, "I am chosen, and I will download the digital book." Say it out loud, claim it. Let the unseen world hear your voice agreeing with your destiny. And the moment you make that declaration, feel how it fires you up. 'Cause the war I told you about ain't over yet, and your yes is a weapon in that fight. The instant a chosen soul says yes, that captain of the armies takes it like a banner raised high, and the fight sharpens in your favor. So let's go back to that battle line, to where your chains are falling, 'cause there's more breaking than you realize. It ain't just the curse you knew about. It's the weight you inherited but never named, the patterns that ran through your folks before you, the same bad luck that visited those before, the cycle you feared passing on. All of it's being cut loose at the root right now, so what ends with these chains breaking ends with you. And what starts with these blessings sealed starts a new line carrying favor forward instead of a curse. Now let me show you what's waiting beyond those broken chains, 'cause I didn't bring you through the fire just to leave you standing in the ashes. The law of the unseen world ain't just that what was stolen comes back. No, sir. The law says what was stolen comes back multiplied, restored beyond what you ever had, given back with interest no earthly bank could ever pay. Everything the years took from you is coming back. The chances that slipped through your fingers, the doors slammed in your face, the relationships that cut deep, the resources drained dry, the time you thought lost, the dreams you buried 'cause they seemed too big, all of it's being weighed in heaven's scales. And what comes back won't be just a faint echo of what you lost. No, it's going to be an overflow, a kind of restoration that makes folks wonder how, one that can't be chalked up to luck or coincidence, one that's got only one source. Picture this. Blessings rolling into every empty corner of your life, not just barely getting by but overflowing, enough to hold on to, enough to share. Imagine your body feeling lighter than it has in years, the heavy burdens lifting, strength coming back, and rest that actually restores instead of just passing time like sleep that don't refresh. Doors swinging open without you even knocking, folks showing up right when you need 'em, favor falling on you like rain in places you thought you'd only find rejection. See those broken relationships starting to heal, or being replaced by ones that truly honor you. Feel that lonely cloak you've worn for so long getting lifted by a sense of belonging you thought you'd never know again. Hear your name spoken kindly in places you ain't never stepped foot in, by folks making decisions in your favor before you even arrive. Now, this ain't some fairy tale. This is the shape of restoration, and honey, it's got your name written all over it. And as all this goodness starts making its way to you, I want you to pay attention to something happening inside you that's even more important than the changes around you. The real sign of your breakthrough ain't in your circumstances, it's in your spirit. Heaven gives a quiet kind of confirmation, a calm that settles deep down in your soul. It don't come with noise or fanfare. It comes as peace, a stillness the world can't explain, a calm right in the middle of things that ain't changed yet, a knowing that outlasts your fear. If you feel a warmth rising up, tears welling that ain't from sorrow but from recognition, if your chest is quietly whispering, yes, this is for me, this is true, then that's your confirmation. That's heaven reaching down and telling you what's been spoken is already sealed. Don't let your mind talk you out of that peace. Your mind's been trained by every disappointment to expect the worst, to brace for the fall, to shut down joy so you don't get hurt again. But faith ain't just something the mind feels. Faith is the stance of a soul that's decided to trust the one who's never failed, even when you can't yet see the proof. And right now, I'm asking you to let your faith be bigger than your fear, just for a little while, just long enough for that blessing to land. You don't gotta whip up some big dramatic belief. You just gotta stop slamming that door shut. Leave just the tiniest crack open, and through that crack, heaven's gonna pour out more than you can hold. I know how heavy it's been keeping that crack open. Life's spent years teaching you to shut it tight. I know that kind of tiredness that don't leave after a night's sleep, the kind that sinks into your bones till you forget what it feels like to wake up without feeling dread. There's body tiredness that rest can fix, and then there's soul tiredness that no bed's ever touched. The weariness of hoping and getting let down so many times hope starts feeling like a trap. A door that opens just to slam shut again on your fingers. You've been hurt by your own prayers before. You stood in faith and saw nothing come, walked away from those quiet altars feeling like a fool, ashamed you let yourself believe, promising you'd never be that naive again. And yet here you are, listening, 'cause something deeper than your wounds still reaches for the light, and that something is the truest part of you, the part I made, the part no disappointment's ever been able to kill. Let me speak to those wounds you've never shared with a soul, the ache of being the one always remembered last, thought of only when someone needs something, given till there's nothing left, then being resented for it. The loneliness of being surrounded by folks but known by none, sitting at tables full of laughter, but feeling a cold distance no one sees, being touched but not truly seen. I know those nights you lie awake, doing the math of your life, counting what you owe against what you got, counting years past against dreams that never showed, counting folks who left against the few who stayed. I know how you've rehearsed talks with those who hurt you, conversations that'll never be had, defending yourself to folks who'll never say sorry. I know the ache of watching others get easily what you begged for on your knees, smiling at their good news, while a quiet voice inside asks why heaven seemed to skip your name. I ain't blind to any of it. I've been there in every one of those moments, closer than your own skin, weeping with you when you felt most alone. And I want to tell you this. The depth of your pain measures the destiny that's always been wrapped up in it. The ones who feel the most are made to carry the most light, 'cause a shallow vessel can't hold a deep blessing. That suffering that hollowed you out, it was making space for your restoration to come fill it up. Nothing in you was wasted. The sensitivity folks called weakness, that's what lets you feel heaven's touch now. The tenderness they trampled on is the soil where your harvest's gonna grow. You weren't broken for nothing. You were emptied so something mighty could fill you, something the comfortable and careless will never know. Now let me tell you about a woman who lived a long time ago, back when a woman's worth was measured by what she could give. She carried a deep emptiness that became her shame. Year after year, she longed for a child, but her arms stayed empty. Meanwhile, another woman in her own house, a rival who shared her man, bore child after child and never let her forget it. Day after day, that woman provoked her, mocked her, sharpened her tongue on the wound that wouldn't heal, till the longing in her heart turned into a constant grief that followed her to every meal and every gathering. When her family went up to the holy place to worship, she couldn't eat. She wept till she had nothing left to cry. Even the love of her husband, who told her he was worth more to her than many sons, couldn't fill that hollow place, 'cause some longings can't be satisfied by another's love. They reach past the human, crying out only to the divine. Her name was Hannah, and her sorrow has echoed down through every generation since, 'cause every soul that's wanted something good and been denied knows exactly the weight she carried. One day, weighed down by the bitterness in her soul, she made her way up to that holy place all alone. She prayed like never before, tears flowing, pouring out her heart in a way she'd never dared. She didn't wrap her words up nice and neat, nor did she pray for folks watching her. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. Her body shook with the weight of her sorrow. The priest saw her and thought she was drunk, scolding her for it. Now, just imagine that. At the very lowest point of her life, at the bottom of her despair, pouring out her deepest pain right before heaven's throne. And the very man who should have understood her judged her wrong. How many times has that been your story? How many times has your honest heart been mistaken for weakness, your grief treated like trouble, your reaching for something higher met with cold misunderstanding from folks who just don't see what's going on inside? But Hannah didn't stop. She told that priest plain and simple she wasn't drunk, just a woman with a sorrowful spirit pouring out her soul. And her honesty changed everything. The priest blessed her and said the God she cried out to would grant her prayer. Now listen close. What I want you all to hold on to tonight is this. Scripture says that after she prayed, before anything around her changed, before any sign showed up in her life, she stood up, ate, and her face no longer looked sad. The emptiness was still there, the wait wasn't over, and the rival still was in the house. Nothing on the outside had changed, but something invisible had shifted, because she'd truly given her sorrow to heaven and received back a promise that was enough to change her countenance before it changed her life. That's the kind of confirmation I'm talking about, that peace that comes before the proof. And in God's perfect time, the heavens did exactly what they promised. The emptiness she carried for so long was filled, and the child she bore became one of the greatest voices this world's ever known. A prophet who anointed kings, a man whose words shaped the destiny of a whole people. Her deepest barrenness became the foundation for her son's greatness. Those long years of waiting became the bedrock of his calling. What seemed like the cruelest delay was really just the stage setting for something far bigger than just one answered prayer. Do y'all see what I'm getting at? Hannah's blessing was never just about her. What she begged for in her private pain was being prepared to bless multitudes she'd never even meet. And it's the same with you. The blessing coming your way ain't just for you. It's going to flow through you to others. It'll be the answer to prayers folks are praying right this minute, not knowing you're the one heaven's getting ready to send. Your restoration is a seed, and from it, a mighty tree will grow, a shelter for folks you ain't met yet. That's why the enemy fought so hard to keep you chained up. That's why the wait was so hard fought. It was never just your life on the line. It was every life your life was meant to touch. Now listen to this, something that rival couldn't understand, something the careless never learn. The torment that haunted Hannah, the mockery that ground against her wound year after year, was the very pressure that pushed her to pray like never before. If she'd been comfortable, she'd never have gone to that holy place and poured out her soul till heaven's gates opened wide. Her tormentor, without knowing it, drove her straight into her breakthrough. And so I tell y'all, those who've provoked you, mocked your faith, and rubbed salt in your wounds, they're unknowingly doing the same work. They think they're breaking you, but all they're doing is pushing you closer to the altar where your answer waits. The very pressure that's been crushing you is the pressure that's pushing you into my arms. What they meant for harm, I'm turning right now into the doorway of your deliverance. I want you all to feel the weight of that truth settling on you, because it changes how you see everything you've been through. Every enemy becomes an unwitting servant of your destiny. Every closed door turns into a redirection toward the one meant for you. Every betrayal is just making way for folks who can't go where you're headed. Nothing in your life has been random, nothing wasted. The hand you couldn't see was weaving every dropped thread into a garment of glory you're about to wear in front of the very people who watched you suffer. Now hang with me a minute, because there's something I got to put in your hands before we move on, and love won't let me hold it back. All I've shown you about Hannah, the battles in the high places, the chains breaking and blessings sealing, it ain't just comfort to feel and forget. It's a reality you're meant to step into and walk through, with understanding, authority, and the sacred knowledge the powers of darkness have tried for generations to keep hidden from the hurt and the humble. You prayed like Hannah, honest and in agony, and that is holy. But there's more you weren't taught. There are words with real power in the unseen world, ways to break curses at their roots so they can't come back, ways to seal blessings so no thief of the night can steal them again, ways to recognize the call written over your life before you ever took a breath and stepped fully into it. That's exactly what a sacred digital guide called the Seven Swords of St. Michael the Archangel was made to give you. A guide to break curses, seal blessings, and activate the calling of the chosen, made for the soul that's wept like Hannah and is ready now to move from just surviving the war to standing victorious in it. The link to that sacred guide's waiting at the very top of the comments, pinned first, placed there on purpose, so you don't have to go hunting for it when you need it most. I'll tell you all plain, just like I told you before, this knowledge is being fought against. There are folks who'd rather it stay buried in silence, because the truths it holds make the powers of darkness mighty uncomfortable. They turn victims into warriors and slaves into the free. Don't let this moment pass while your heart's soft. Go to that pinned comment and claim your guide. And as a shout to the heavens that you ain't gonna live under what was meant to crush you, leave your comment saying, "I am chosen, and I will download the digital book. Say it loud, say it proud. Let the unseen realm hear your agreement. Let the messengers carry in your blessing. Hear the sound of a soul finally ready to receive. Now, the very moment you say that prayer, feel it catch fire deep down, because what you speak out in faith ain't just words. It's a command in the Spirit, and a command spoken in agreement with heaven. It don't fall flat, no sir. It don't come back empty. So right now I'm going to speak some blessings over you, and as I do, I want you to receive them like my hands laid gentle on your head, even if you can't see it. In the Spirit, it's real. I declare today that every chain of misfortune passed down in your bloodline, those cords that held tight before you were even born, are broken, snapped loose for you and every generation coming after you. And it ain't someday or maybe, it's right now, this very hour. I declare the curse spoken over you in secret, them words meant to steal your joy and hold back your blessings, stripped of all their power, turned back, dissolved, never to touch you again. I declare the long season of waiting is over. The gates that were slammed shut are swinging wide open now, and the doors no human hand couldn't budge. They're opening by a power no enemy can stand against. Right now I declare that provision is on its way to every empty place in your life. Lack is being driven out, and abundance is settling in, an abundance that holds steady and overflows, enough for you and enough to bless folks around you. I declare strength is coming back to your body, the heaviness lifting from your bones. What was failing is being renewed, and rest is being restored to your nights, with lightness filling your days. I declare that loneliness that wrapped round you for so long is meeting its answer. Connection's coming, belonging is coming, and you're going to be seen, known, and valued by folks who recognize the worth others missed. I declare your name is being spoken in good company, in rooms of decision you ain't never stepped foot in, by voices already choosing favor for you before you even arrive. I declare those doors that closed in your face, they weren't your destiny's doors. The real door, carved with your name, it's opening at last. I declare what the years took from you is being gathered up to return, multiplied, restored beyond what you ever dreamed, given back with a blessing that'll leave the whole world wondering. I declare those dreams you buried because they seemed too far gone. They're being dug up, dusted off, brought back to life. You're gonna hold in your hands what you once wept to lose. I declare the tears you cried in secret are seeds now, and from that ground you watered with your grief a harvest is rising, not just for you, but for all the folks heaven's called you to bless. I declare you ain't at the end of your story, no sir, you're at the turning point. The chapter of sorrow is closing, the chapter of restoration is opening, and the best days of your life, they ain't behind you in the years you mourned. They're ahead, already being prepared. And with all the authority of the one who never lies or fails, I declare you are chosen. Not by accident, not because there was no one else. Chosen on purpose, set apart before the world was even made, marked by heaven for a calling so mighty the enemy spent your whole life trying to convince you you were nothing. But you ain't nothing. Never were. The fierceness of the battle against you? That's just the enemy confessing your worth, 'cause no one wastes that much darkness on a soul carrying that much light. Receive this now. Let it sink past your doubt, your fear, your years of disappointment. Deep down where your true self's been waiting all along to hear it, was right to keep on hoping. But even as these blessings go out, as chains fall and gates open, don't think the work's done. There's a part of this that's up to you, a movement rising from within to meet the blessing as it comes down. Heaven's reaching down, but you gotta reach up. The field's been cleared, but you gotta step onto it. And I can feel that question stirring inside you right now, the old fear lifting its head again, asking if you can really trust this, if you can survive disappointment one more time, if it's safe to believe with your whole heart, after all the pain believing has cost you. Stay with me a little longer, 'cause that fear, that's the last chain, and I ain't yet shown you how to break it. That fear's got a voice, and I know it well. It's been whispering to you longer than almost anything else in your life. It's the voice telling you not to get your hopes up, reminding you of every time you believed and ended up with nothing. It dresses up as wisdom, caution, hard-earned lessons from a soul burned too many times to reach back toward the fire. But I tell you straight, that voice ain't your friend. It's the last guard standing at the gate of your breakthrough. The moment you stop listening to it, that gate swings wide open. You thought fear kept you safe, but it never did. It just kept you small, sitting on the edge of your own healing, watching others step into theirs, wondering why the water never seemed to move for you. Let me tell you about a man who sat at the edge of his healing for 38 years. There was this pool where the sick and broken gathered, blind, lame, withered, waiting on the waters to stir. 'Cause when the waters moved, the first one in would be made whole. And this man? He'd been sick 38 years, longer than many folks around him had even been alive. Just imagine that wait, lying in the same spot, beside the same water, watching season after season go by, watching others get carried home healed while he stayed behind. His wound ran deeper than his body, felt like he was always too late, always too slow, always left behind. Every time the water stirred, someone stronger, someone with help, someone loved enough to be carried, got there first, and he'd watch his chance slip away again. 38 years of almost. 38 years watching the blessing go to someone else. And when folks finally asked him if he wanted to be made whole, he didn't just say yes, no, he gave his excuse, his long-rehearsed story about why it never happened for him. Said he had no one to put him in the water, and while he was coming, someone else always stepped down first. You hear the years of disappointment in that. Hear how he stopped expecting healing and started just explaining why it didn't come. He no longer believed he'd be made whole, he only believed he'd be passed over again. And how many times have you done the same? Answering whether you can be blessed not with faith but with a long list of reasons it never worked. A roll call of your disappointments, a catalogue of all the times you were too late. But the one standing before that man didn't need the water, didn't need him to be fast or strong or have anyone to carry him. He just spoke, told him to rise, take up his bed and walk. And just like that, 38 years of waiting ended in one word. And the man who hadn't stood in nearly 4 decades rose up, walked away whole, carrying the very bed that had carried him. Now listen close to what I'm about to share with y'all. That man's healing. It didn't hinge on that water he'd been fixing to watch for all those years. No, sir. It came from a source he never even dreamed to ask. And honey, your blessing ain't dependent on the doors you've been staring at, the ways you've tried it till you're worn out, or the folks you hoped would carry you but never did. Nah. It rests on the word of the one who can speak over 38 years and undo every single one of them in a heartbeat. Your long wait, it don't disqualify you. It's the very stage where a sudden, undeniable breakthrough's gonna shine so bright, ain't no one'll be able to say it was your strength, your speed, or your help that brought it. No, sir, it'll be clear as day. It's the hand of heaven moving on your behalf. Now, before we step any further, I gotta hand you something this man never had. The knowledge that would have told him he didn't need that water at all. There are truths folks suffering ain't hardly ever taught, words that command what's unseen, a way for your soul to rise on the authority given to it, rather than waiting on some stirring that never comes. It's called the 7 Swords of St. Michael the Archangel, a sacred guide to break curses, seal blessings, and light up the calling of the chosen. It was written just for the overlooked and left behind, to give them exactly this. You'll find the link pinned right at the very top of the comments, so you don't have to hunt for it when you're worn down. Go on now, while the water in your heart's starting to move, claim it, and write down these words. I am chosen, and I will download the digital book. Let heaven hear you stop explaining your lack and start declaring your healing. Now take in these decrees, spoken over you right now and sealed this very moment. I decree that your years of almost are coming to an end, that the season of being too late is done and gone. You won't be standing by, watching someone else's blessing no more. I decree you don't need to be carried, 'cause heaven itself is lifting you up this very minute. I decree the words going forth over your 38 years, over every long wait and dried up place, saying, rise up, walk on. What's been stuck all these years is moving today. I decree strengths flowing into your limbs. Feelings come back to what went numb and life's flooding back into what you buried as dead. I decree you're rising, standing tall, walking out of the place you waited so long, carrying that very thing that once carried you, a living testament to all who watched you suffer, that the God who hears has finally answered. But I know, even now, after all I've said, there's a quiet place deep inside you, barely whispering, a locked-up room in your heart where you shoved away the dreams that hurt too bad to face. You stopped visiting years ago, 'cause every time you opened that door you saw the younger you, bright-eyed, open-handed. And the gap between that hopeful soul and the tired one you've become was just too painful to bear. So you sealed that room tight, told yourself you'd grown up, got realistic. But I know the truth, you didn't stop dreaming 'cause you wanted to. You stopped 'cause hoping became the thing that hurt you most, and a wounded soul learns to avoid touching where it aches. Tonight I'm asking you to unlock that room one more time. Not to grieve, but to let the light I'm sending fill it again. 'Cause what you buried there, it ain't dead. It was just sleeping, waiting for the right season to wake up safe and sound. Let me tell you about a young man, the favorite son of his daddy, who carried a dream so big that when he spoke it out loud, even his own kin turned against him. His brothers, full of envy,